Then I can figure out what kind of wood, if I got walnut, that I can match to this. Everything keys on this. I've got my forearm mounted to a, I call it a mandrel. That's not the technical definition of it, but it's just something to hold it. And I'm going to start cleaning out the checking. First, I'm going to try to establish how many lines per inch this is. I'm hoping it's 22 because I'm set up for that. It's not. It's probably 24. This is a guide. This is just a gauge that tells you you can look through this slot and count those lines as these lines appear in the slot, and you can tell how many lines per inch something is. It's close to 24, but it's not even perfect with that. This is 26, and it's not perfect with that either. It's just kind of a sloppy 24, but it doesn't make near that much difference, because what I'm going to do is just simply take line by line and deepen them. So I'm going to be using a single cutter. This pattern is very typical of European stuff in the 20s and 30s, 40s, in that it has a triple border. I'm not going to cut that border yet. I'm just going to cut the lines. There's a really big, deep gouge, scratch right there that I'm not going to try to take it out. Just got to jump across it for right now. If I try to take that out, if I try to take all the defects out of this piece of wood, it won't be a piece of wood anymore. It'll be so thin. See, this metal comes to the surface of this, and if I take this wood level down, then the metal sticks out, and that looks really, really, really bad. So I have to live with some of these problems that this thing has. It's kind of like when I went to the surgeon to ask him about my shoulder surgery. He said, "I'm not going to make you 25 years old again." I can't make this gun look new again. This wood is so old that it's very fragile. It's very soft, and so it's like trying to checker a raw eggshell. The finish that I apply to this actually strengthens the wood because it soaks into the wood grains. It gets down in there, and the finish is harder than this wood, and it kind of impregnates the fibers, kind of like when they pressurize epoxy into wood to make knife handles and different things. I had a customer call me from a city about an hour and a half from here, and he was in a wheelchair, but he liked to shoot, and he shot pistols, and he had a Red Hawk. He said the thing, he couldn't hang on to it because his grip was not that good, and he wanted me to checker this Red Hawk. It was a 44 Magnum. And I said, well, you know why they don't put checkering on heavy kicking guns like that, because when they recoil, they need a little place to slide and give a little bit. You put checkering on there, it's going to eat your hands up. He said, well, I'll take the trade-off because I can't hold on to it. And he sent me those Red Hawk grips, and I checkered them. And they had infused, it's got kind of a rosewood looking stuff on it, and it's in layers like plywood, but it's officially they call it laminated. But they infuse it with epoxy, and that stuff was like trying to checker a piece of granite. I wore out about 6 bits trying to checker just a little old set of pistol grips. But I'd already given him a price, and I stuck to it. So the finish actually will strengthen this wood when I get it on there. One side done. This is the other direction, but I've got to mark this outer edge, this last line, where I know where these come down and stop against that. There's actually a triple border this way of that line. There's 2 more lines out here, but this is where these stop, and I've got this patch up here that's just so worn down that I'm having to connect the start of a line here and then skip across that and then the rest of it over there. I think I've got them, I think I have them pretty well marked, I think. This is kind of like chasing threads on a bolt, where the threads are messed up. You take a bolt, a thread file, and just start at one end and start spiraling around that bolt and cleaning those threads out. This is very similar to that. You can sort of go parallel to the one before and just gauge that distance, how far it is. You can't do that too many times, but if you're just doing one or two lines, you can sort of eyeball it. 24 lines per inch, that means they're 1/24 of an inch apart, and you can sort of guess that. Heaven help you if you miss it though.